Okay, so my name's Rhian and I'm the Communications Officer at National Theatre Wales. I've been with the company nearly a year now, and before that I worked for the Sherman Theatre in Cardiff, so I have experience from both a venue perspective and a touring company perspective of, you know, that the kind of thing Simon was talking about, is going to the venues, trying to get into a venue and dealing with both type of comms departments. I trained as a dancer originally, so I have experience as being an artist, and then I trained as a journalist, so I'm a bit of a jack of all trades really. I think the crux of my work and how I like to work and how I think people should approach marketing, communications and their audiences is that it's a conversation. If you try and sell somebody something as a product, they're not going to buy into it. They have to believe in you and who you are and the messages you're giving them, and they have to trust you. So for me, it's all about having a conversation with them. I'm a very practical person and I like to plan, and I think whether you're in production mode, whether you're in the creative process, wherever you are in your world, you have to plan. And that might sound like a really simple thing to say, but it's very easy to forget that and just to move on and think, I've got to create this work, I've got to get an audience. If you haven't taken the time to plan, then you're going to have problems. So proper planning prevents poor performance. That's the PG version. I'll let you imagine what P word becomes before poor. But yeah, you just have to do it. So make a plan. Sit down and work out that little thing there. Who, what, why, how and where. So who are you talking to? Where, when are you talking to them? Why are you talking to them? How and where. It's really important to me to know why I'm telling people this. So I have to know what my messages are. Why should they come and see it? I like to make a wish list. So I sit down and really think, what are the amazing, crazy things I'd like to do for this show? Why should people come and see the show? What are the mad things I could do? I'm probably not going to have the budget all the time to do it, but it's good to have that kind of big idea and that big hairy plan that you could possibly achieve and work back from there. Prepare. So your content. Content is anything from your copywriting through to your press release to just a simple text tweet. It doesn't have to be a massive video or loads of really high-res images. If you haven't got the budget or the time to do that, think back and really imagine what you could do with just an iPhone or just some kind of small device that you can do quickly in a rehearsal room, or just from the comfort of your own home when you're not in show mode. And implementation. It's still a P because it has a P word still in there. It is there. So implementation, but allowing for change. So you've made your plan and you've thought about your content, now you've got to implement it. But it's not set in stone. It doesn't have to be rigid. You can allow for change and allow your marketing campaign or your communications to change and ebb and flow depending on where you are in your work. So top tip for me at all times is to consider your audience even when you're not in production time. As a touring company, NTW are not always in show mode. There are quite quiet times where we have nothing on, and you have to really think about, you know, what you say to your audience then. For example, with Twitter, when we haven't got a show on, what can I talk about? What am I doing? There are the artist development programs like the Huddles and the assemblies and all the other stuff we do. It's massive. For example, last week I tweeted a picture of Catherine's top because we couldn't work out what the creature was on her top. And stuff like that gives you a personality, and it lets audiences and people who like you understand what kind of person you are. So planning your campaign. For me, you can break it down into audience, assets and time. They are kind of the key moments in any campaign. So with audience, who are you looking to speak to? Why should they come and what are their barriers? So I like to sit down and make a list of the audience. Who do I think would like this show? You don't always have a massive bank of research you can rely on, or you know, that kind of thing where you can really look in depth about how people are relating to your work and how people are looking at your work. Just make a list. So for our show that's come in here in a couple of weeks, Crouch, Touch, Pause, Engage, I sat down and thought, right, this is going to appeal to rugby people, this is going to appeal to LGBT, people who love Gareth Thomas. There's so much to it. There's so many different aspects of that show that will appeal to such a wide range of people. They might not all be theatre people, it might be a little bit harder to get them in, but they are my audience. I should consider my marketing and my communications when I'm thinking of them. Why should they come? What exactly is their hook? You're going to be in love with this piece of work and you're going to really want to show it to people, but you've got to give people a reason to come. You've got to know what that hook is. What are the barriers? Like Simon said, we've worked in a really difficult financial situation the past couple of years. People don't have as much free money lying around, people don't have as much time, and sometimes people just can't get to you. But for every barrier you put up, you need to think of a way to break through that. It's hard and you have to really think about it, but you should always take the time to do that. It really is worth your while to work out who the audience are. So your assets, what do you have, literally have to promote the work? Flyers, posters, blogs, social media, do you have a budget? You're not always going to have a massive budget. I've worked on shows where I've been told you have nothing, literally nothing, go. And it's all right, okay. Back to the drawing board then. But think of blogs, social media, that's free. It is time consuming, you do have to plan it, but it does go back to that all the time. But with all of this, you have to be realistic. What do you actually have time to do? There's no point in having 50 million social media channels and all these massive plans if you do not have the time to do them. I only run, for a national theatre company, I run a Twitter account, a Facebook account, and our main community. That's all we run. We have YouTube and Instagram as staff members, and YouTube as our own NTW thing, but that supports the work we do rather than dictates the work we do. That's what makes the content to put on those channels. I don't have time to be running a million different things, Foursquare and all this stuff. I don't even have time to work out what they are because I'm busy and so are artists. So pick those channels you are good at and do them well. That's all you need to do really. If you commit your time and your energy into 1 or 2 really good social media channels, you will see that it pays off. It does take time. You're not going to join Twitter and automatically have 10,000 followers. You've got to start building that up, find those people with interests, but I'll come on to that. Time. So when is your show and really how long do you have to do all this work in? And that will then feed back into your audience and your assets and what you're actually able to do. Top tip for me is a timeline. This might sound simple and you might think, oh, I do that anyway, but it is a core part. So have a little Excel sheet, have all your channels in one side column, so your Facebook, Twitter, posters, rehearsal room time, everything in one little column, and then across the top have your weeks and work back from when the show is live to now. And literally plot in what you think you can do. That can move. It can change across, you can colour code things, but it's there then, it's written in front of you and you can just amend as you need to. But be realistic. You need to just keep that in mind that it's not going to be, a massive sellout show all the time. You just have to really think of what you're doing. So content and preparing your content. What is useful to your work? What really does work for you? You might be creating some really exciting visual art, so you're going to be looking at Instagram for that. That's going to really, work. It's not just posting pictures of your food and all the rest of it. It can be really useful for sharing snippets of your work. You shouldn't be afraid of giving away too much. People like knowing what goes on behind the scenes. Instagram does videos, you can put all that kind of content on there as well. It's very quick. And a lot of these channels now are integrated, so you don't have to take the time to be like, well, I'll post that on Facebook now, I'll post that on Twitter now. You can do it automatically and just link them all together. It's quite simple, it's quite easy. I taught myself to do it. So just take that time to get to know the tools around you. Videos and photos and blogs are easy. They really are easy. And you can keep them as a bank. So when on a Monday afternoon you've got an hour where you can take some pictures, go into the rehearsal room, whatever it is, keep them as a bank. You don't have to share everything at the same time. You can really, save it up. So social media, you can schedule, prep it, be responsive to it. Don't let it take over your life. I hear from artists quite a lot that I'm in the rehearsal room 5 days a week, 9 hours a day. I don't have time to sit on Twitter and Facebook. TweetDeck, you can schedule everything in. So you've got that hour on a Monday or whatever day of the week you've got it, and you can schedule your social media for the rest of the week. You can put on there, I'm in the rehearsal room now, I'm really busy. Be checking this intermittently, share anything you're up to. You can really just be a normal person on there. I'm quite passionate about social media, and I think you should treat it as a community. It is a place where you can find people with similar interests, find venues, companies, community groups, people you think would connect with you, and that's how you're going to build your followers and those kind of things. Do not blanket tweet. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this talk, is do not blanket tweet people. Don't @NTW tweets. Retweet for me. That's the worst thing you can do. You look spammy and you don't make friends doing that. It's quite blunt to say it, but you don't. So get to know people. Same as Simon was saying, with you find the named email address, you email them. Go in and talk to a comms person. Come in and talk to me in NTW tweets. Come in and chat to people everywhere. Take the time to get to know people. I know it's easier said than done when you're a really busy artist, but pick those people you really want to make a relationship with, the people who will be most valuable to you, and go and have a chat with them. Send them an email, say this is what I'm looking to do, I've got a trailer, would you mind sharing it? I'm happy to mention you in my tweets. It's a very small community, the arts world. You know, it can seem like you're one person, there's millions of people out there, but have the time and make that time to have a conversation. I came back to Cardiff to train in London. I knew nobody, and I wanted to write, so I wanted to be a journalist. So I started harassing all the heads of comms at all the venues in Cardiff, and I ended up writing for the Wales Lion Centre and getting free tickets to all their shows. Because I just asked, and I was cheeky, I spent the time to try and get in with them. The NCW community, I'm not sure if any of you are on there, but even though it's the NCW community, it's a platform for other artists to share their work, their blogs, their events. It's full of other artists and other interesting companies and people that will engage with your work. But if you're not engaging with them, they won't engage with you. So comment on other people's posts, other people's events. They'll be aware of you then, and you build a network. Similar to Facebook, how you comment and like, you can do that on there.
Is that Twitter?
And that's the NCW community. The name, if you go to our website, on the top banner there's a tab that says community. If you click on there, that'll take you through to the community. You can sign up and make a profile. This might seem like a simple one, but go to the town, go to the place you're performing. When we were performing Mammoths last summer, we went up there, up to Usk for a day, and just spent the day wandering around, going in and talking to people, chatting to different galleries, going to the pub and having some food and chatting with the people there. You know, you just got to take the time to go and find the audience in the locality, and just take that moment to go and talk to them. Again, it's time consuming, but that's the only way you're going to build an audience, and they won't come to you. Top tip, be yourself. It's easy for me to say, like, chat away online, and because that's what I love to do, but really just go on there and be yourself and share your thoughts and your imagination and all the amazing things you're creating. Just share them as you, because you are a person and people will connect with you a lot more if you just be yourself online. So implement. It is a P word because there's a P in there, so I maintain that. Use your plan, that's what it's there for. You've taken the time to think of who your audience is, you've taken the time to make this plan, use it. So when you start to panic, and you start to get overwhelmed, and you start to think, oh God, I've got this venue to take my show and it's not selling, what do I do? Just take a step back and look at your plan. You'll have people asking you questions, and you'll have the comms partner asking, what are you doing, who are you speaking to? You can look at your plan like, well, this is what I'm doing this week, and this is who I'm talking to this week. You've just got it there for you. There's a reason why you've spent that time doing that groundwork. Just don't put out content for the sake of it. It's very easy to start panicking and start just pushing stuff out constantly and just saying things for the sake of it. You've done your research, you've done your time, and you've thought of your content and you've made your content. It's there to be a prop when times get busy, and when you're in the middle of a show and you're in production week, your content and your plan will help you. People are interested, they want to know behind the scenes stuff, they want to know what's going on, but just take your time to do it. What if you do need something else? Cross-marketing is a tool that I don't think is used enough. We're a very small community, we should talk to each other, and artists should talk to us, and we should talk to artists. That's why we exist, to help each other. So make friends and talk to people, and ask them to mention you, and ask them to talk about your work in return for something. Help each other out a little bit. It can be free, it can just be a simple retweet. Again, it's finding the right people to talk to, but it's taking the time to do that. E-flyers, we use them a lot in NCW, and I've always used them at Sherman, that kind of thing. You don't have to go to a huge list, and things like MailChimp are very, very easy to use, and they are free, up to a certain point. If you're worried about having a huge list, you're probably not going to hit that point if you haven't got that stuff there. And they usually give you like a little code, very easy to use. I did teach myself. That you can put on your blog or on your website, run a website that can link people to sign up to it. But a cheeky thing to do is ask all your friends and family to do it. Sign up to my mailing list so that I can create that email and send an email which then can be shared on Twitter and Facebook, because they can automatically link through. And it's very easy to do, so I would advise looking at MailChimp if you're creating a work and need something. It's also useful for making a little press release in, it's useful for sending to venues, this is the kind of thing I'm working on. This is the show, this is what it's going to look like, this is my copy. It's very useful to use it like that. And going back to don't put out content for the sake of it, drip feed your information and think about how you're talking to people and when you're talking to people. Think about your own behaviours and the way you behave on social media and the way you behave when you talk to people. it's the same when you're talking to an audience, and it's the same when you should be tweeting from your company Twitter or whatever. I know I check Twitter first thing in the morning, so a lot of the time I will schedule tweets to go out first thing in the morning from the NTW account, because I know that people wake up and they look at their social media. You have that lull in the afternoon where you're sitting at your desk or you're in work or whatever, and you just think, oh, I'll have a little look at social media. You know, that's a good time to get messages out to people. It's quite useful to hit your audience. So top tips. Use Google. I know it's a simple thing to say, but Google, you can find anything on there. It's a really good way of finding those local groups and rugby clubs and communities and people you need to tap into. It's a good way of finding their websites, content, all sorts of things. Be yourself, just be a person. Don't be just a Twitter account or a drone online. Really be yourself. Be realistic. Your time is valuable, and you're not going to be able to do everything I've spoken about in the past 10-15 minutes. You're not going to be able to do it all, so really pick what your time would be best spent doing and why you should do that. Be realistic in terms of your audience taking time to build. You're not going to find an audience just like that. People take time to buy into your work and what you do and to trust you as a person as well as your work. So just be realistic about how long it takes to build an audience and how long it takes to get them to buy into your work. Talk to people, talk to venues, companies, other artists. There's artists in this room right now. You can go away from today with all these people's contact details, social media accounts. These people are your audience. These people are the people who will come and see your work and you should build links with. It's got to start somewhere, and you've just got to take that chance to say to somebody, oh, you know, I'm doing an R&D next week, would you mind coming along and giving me your opinion? Or, you know, can you tweet about it for me? Can I tweet about something for you? Have that conversation, don't be afraid. And be cheeky. I think you don't get anything if you don't ask, if you don't try. Like, I just asked the Wales Town Centre, I said, this is what I do, this is what I want to do, can I come and see a show of you? And they were like, oh yeah, okay. You just got to ask people. It doesn't always work out, and you will get no's, and you will get knockbacks, but being cheeky is a really good way of just getting something for nothing, or to get that meeting with somebody, get that coffee and have that chat and find out more about what's going on. And it works for shows as well, so go into a local area, email in the school or email in a pub, club, wherever, and say, no, I'm coming and doing something, can I talk to you? Just be cheeky and talk to people. I think that's everything from me, and I'm going to pass on to Catherine now, but I'm here all day and we're having questions after this as well, so you don't have to be anything.